President Joe Biden, his first television interview since the debate.
It's said that the 81-year-old president has good days and bad days. After the worst of days, that debate, this interview was a time when Joe Biden needed to be at his best, as he was asked what went so wrong last week.
Was this a bad episode or the sign of a more serious condition?
It was a bad episode. No indication of any serious condition. I was exhausted. I didn't listen to my instincts in terms of preparing, and I had a bad night.
This unedited 22-minute sit-down was an attempt to mop up the mess of the 90-minute sparring with Donald Trump that raised so many concerns about Biden's age.
Look, if we finally beat Medicare,
and whether he was still fit for office now, as well as for another 4 years.
Would you be willing to undergo an independent medical evaluation that included neurological and cognitive tests and release the results to the American people?
Look, I have a cognitive test every single day. Every day I have that test. Everything I do. You know, not only am I campaigning, but I'm running the world. And that's not how it sounds like hyperbole. But we are the essential nation in the world.
But it's that point that so worries Democrats, that the stakes are so high because of who could next be in charge. Donald Trump, a convicted felon who's been emboldened by the Supreme Court decision that a president's official acts are immune from prosecution. It is Biden himself who has warned of the threat of an imperial Trump second term.
Around the world.
But amidst concern that he's now down in the polls against Trump, Biden remains resolute.
Do you really believe you're not behind right now?
I think it's all the pollsters I talk to tell me it's a toss-up. It's a toss-up.
If you can be convinced that you cannot defeat Donald Trump, will you stand down?
Well, it depends if the Lord Almighty comes out and tells me that, I might do that.
If God doesn't stop off in the Oval Office, could more gaffes cause Biden to think again? At a rally in Wisconsin yesterday, he made a slip about what year it was.
I'll beat Donald Trump. I will beat him again in 2020.
A minor mistake, but the more frequent, the more major they become. 5 Democrats in the House are calling for him to step aside. Major donors are threatening to withhold funds, and a Washington Post report suggests that one senator is trying to get a group together to stage an intervention. But what are these supporters saying?
I was happy to see Joe Biden back in his old form, fired up, full of energy.
Unless something changes dramatically, he is the man for me.
What I would really like to see is that Joe step down and give it to Kamala, and there'll be an open convention.
That idea of Vice President Kamala Harris being the new nominee is coming more and more to the fore, with the Democratic convention in Chicago next month. But that in itself is not so simple, not least because it would require a still resolute Biden to step aside. Both know that the next few weeks are crucial for their party and for the Republic. What these two decide is anyone's guess.